There is no question that the Jaws movie sent a tremor along American beaches. There are few actual shark attacks, but each one is headline material. Reported shark attacks worldwide average about 120 a year, and you can never tell when or where the critters are going to show up. During 1981, for example, there were 21 shark attacks off the coasts of Florida alone. As a matter of fact, just 2 months ago, while filming another story in Palm Beach, Florida, we saw this. That windsurfer is about 150 yards off the beach. The X is the shadow of our helicopter. The other shadows, 1, 2, 3, 4, are all sharks. How much danger was that windsurfer in? Are shark attacks predictable? Our search for answers began in Bimini, a small island in the Bahamas, where some scientists spend their 9 to 5s day in, day out, in close company with sharks.
Fork, 65.
Their work is deadly serious.
Total.
Sharks have survived in our ocean for an estimated 350 million years. They are the main predator, controlling our vast ocean food chain. In many countries, shark meat is a main staple of the nation's diet, and it may be someday in the United States. Yet little is actually known about sharks. So scientists like Dr. Sam Gruber of the University of Miami, backed by federal research funds, are in the Bahamas aboard a floating laboratory to find out all they can about sharks and their habits. Given that shark attacks are so rare, why, I wondered, am I and so many others so deathly afraid of sharks?
There is something blood-curdling about the thought of a cold, unfeeling, cold-eyed animal ripping a human being apart. And they do have that capacity, but it's such a rare and unusual event that I know there's some horror there, but I don't feel it. I feel admiration.
Dr. Gruber was determined to show me that with proper precautions, proper respect, I could get to like a shark. They took me to a holding pen where I was to meet a newly caught tiger shark named Tina, whom I assumed would be of moderate proportions. How big is Tina, as she's called?
Tina's two of us head to tail. That is to say she's over 13 feet. She weighs about 1,000 pounds, probably over 25 years old.
And what if she gets angry when she gets revived? I mean, not that I'm worried, I just...
Well, she's not going to get angry.
It took some coaxing, but they finally did get me in there with Tina.
Just watch the tail. That's be the only part that'd be troublesome. Okay, just touch her skin like this, about that hard, right in front of her eye, and you'll see her wink her eye. It'll be okay. She won't do anything. You serious? Okay, I'll do it for you. I've
got her.
She's not gonna do anything. But real gingerly, just touch it right there.
Easy, baby. Easy.
Did she wink? Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's good. Don't get carried away.
I was gonna kiss her.
You can do that from up here. Easy, baby. Easy.
You can let her go now. Okay.
That's a wrap. Let him go. Let him go.
But of course, they had just begun with me. In the course of their work, they have to move sharks from one place to the other. I started on a small tiger shark named Roger. The proper way to walk a shark, I was told, is for two people to grasp the pectoral fins, the ones on the side. Then just guide the fish. Little Roger was reasonably cooperative, but of course the real test was Big Tina.
I've got a tail rope on her. I'll control her. If she starts to bolt, just bust clear from me.
Tina was an armful, and despite our efforts, had a habit of going where she damn well pleased. Regardless, I was becoming more comfortable with Tina, as long as I was underwater with goggles on and knew exactly where she was. That, I learned, is the key to staying out of a shark's mouth.
The thing is, a diver is underwater, he has good visibility, he can see the shark.
Neil Watson is not a scientist, but he's operated sport diving trips here for 20 years and in fact holds the scuba world records for both depth and long-distance underwater swimming.
Normally a shark won't just come up and attack you anyhow. The shark will circle, it'll come in, it'll make passes. If it's really curious, it'll get in with it 4 or 5 feet, and then normally it'll even bump you before it actually bites you. The sport diver's down there, he can see it. If it looks curious, he simply gets out of the water.
In far greater danger, says Watson, is a swimmer at the beach.
Elmer P. Suggins from Pig Eye Village, Arkansas, was out bopping around in his inner tube, splashing, thrashing around. The visibility's poor. There may be a shark down there for 45 minutes making passes, cruising back and forth. He doesn't have a clue. And then he comes in, bumps him, swings around, and before he can make the beach, he gets nailed.
And for every shark expert, there's a favorite shark story.
A movie I was working on a few years back, we were working with tiger sharks.
The movie's plot involved a woman who entertained her audience from a shark tank. The climax, naturally, a shark would attack her. And naturally, in real life, the shark was supposed to be dead. Watson thought it was. He'd even removed the shark's teeth. But when that shark hit the water...
This guy came back around, which is unbelievable in itself.
And the shark revived.
He revived, yeah.
What'd he do?
Well, he saw this girl, figured, well, I'm going to get even for getting my teeth knocked out. And he drove her about 50 feet across this swimming pool into the side of a pool. And, of course, camera, they loved it.
That scene in the movie.
Good stuff, yeah. All of this, it took about 4 of us to drag this shark, which was supposed to be dead, off of this girl.
Meanwhile, my partner and I were becoming quite proficient with Tina, who this day was about to perform her final obligation before being set free. Although all those devices attached to her look horrible, we were assured that Tina experienced very little pain. The laboratory was an operating table 30 feet deep in the Atlantic. The procedure, a simple eye examination to learn more about how these huge predators can hunt and survive so efficiently. Dr. Gruber, for instance, has determined that sharks can see in light levels 10 times lower than humans. Finally, Tina was stripped of all her shackles. As I watched my friend swim free, there was great respect for what she could do to me under different circumstances. The old irrational fear had been replaced with the knowledge that most sharks are somewhat predictable, if you use your head. Notice, I said most sharks. Then you begin to learn about the great white.
That animal is perhaps 17 feet, 3,000 pounds.
Al Giddings is a renowned underwater photographer from San Francisco. He's a man of modest statements until the subject is great white sharks that he has filmed. On one occasion, Giddings' partner was attacked.
I remember the first look into Leroy's face and then this great tail going up over his head. He heard the sound. I saw the animal. And then he disappeared underwater. When I really got in the thick of things, in the center of this great pool of blood and involved in the throes of what was happening, I think I went on auto. Everything from that point on was sort of dream time.
Giddings saved his partner from the great white, and he'll tell you the great white is like no other shark in the ocean.
This is an animal of a different ilk. Unpredictable for the most part, totally unmanageable in the wrong situation. If the animal wants to take you, no question, you're in great danger. I think the animal is capable of taking perhaps 50 pounds in a single bite. Imagine a set of jaws like that closing around your waist, and on the other end of that set of jaws, a 1.5 ton animal twisting and writhing.
And this thing shook me like a rag doll. It's just amazing their attack. When they attack you, it's just such an unbelievable power.
Jack Rochette is a diver who a number of years ago survived a great white attack in the waters off San Francisco.
He just grabbed me from underneath by both legs, and then I figured he just jumped out, and I looked off the side, and then I could see this huge head and the body and falling back into the water. And I was looking at his eye right here, and I had one hand under his mouth, and I'm just kind of trying to keep him away, and he was that thick.
How'd you get out of his mouth?
I didn't get out of his mouth. He let go. You don't get out of his mouth. He could have swallowed me whole.
Jack was spearfishing at the time he was hit, and experts say a bloody fish is a good attraction for the big sharks. People on surfboards appear to be another prime target of the great whites.
We're just paddling along, singing a few Harry Belafonte songs to pass the time.
Terry Schubert and Kaz Pulowski are lifeguards south of San Francisco.
A huge fish came and hit the board, catapulting Kaz off the board, and a second later, bam, shark hit the board.
The shark went for the board and not for Kaz.
Right.
Terry and Kaz came away with nothing more than a shark-bit surfboard. But this board is from another West Coast attack by a great white, and the young man riding it was not so lucky. It is the awesome killing power of the great white that makes scenes like this so horrifying. But it's that same killing power that has allowed sharks to survive in great numbers for 350 million years. They've developed built-in weapons that still mystify scientists like Dr. John McCosker of the Steinhardt Aquarium in San Francisco.
More than that, over hundreds of millions of years, they've developed a strategy for feeding upon large prey that has been unequaled in nature.
So the teeth, they actually have spare teeth already grown just behind these?
There is a continual conveyor belt of teeth. The shark always has a fresh tooth ready to pop into place after a tooth is lost. I suspect that as we learn more and more about sharks, we'll respect them, remain in awe of them, and better learn how to predict what'll happen when you and I get in the water.
Dr. McCosker and Al Giddings, the photographer, work closely in their studies of the great whites, and they have some chilling information for swimmers and divers on the West Coast. You see, years ago, seals were rare along the California shores, but strict conservation laws have changed all that, and now seals abound in huge numbers. Seals are also the main staple of the great white's diet, and to a great white, a person in the water can look just like a seal. Again, the attacks are rare, but the area 50 miles north and south of San Francisco has the highest incidence of great white shark attacks in the world. There have been 36 attacks on humans in this one area since 1970, and with the seal population still growing dramatically, the experts predict it will get worse. Giddings, for instance, will no longer dive around the Farallon Islands, 30 miles off San Francisco.
In 1960, there were a dozen whites around the Farallones. I think in 1980, there are hundreds. We're going to see more encounters. There are more surfers. There are more windsurfers. There are more divers, more people using the ocean. There are more white sharks without question. Very interesting dilemma we face.
There is no doubt the great white shark is an animal to be feared. But even the attack victims we talked with have come away with an awesome respect, almost reverence, for a species so perfectly designed to survive. And all those victims still dive, even Jack Rochette, although with one qualification.
I already made a deal with somebody that if I see another great white, I'll quit diving and I'll never go looking for one.
Who's that deal with?
Man upstairs.